It's a new year. I haven't made a video yet, so you are here for the first video of the year. You're probably um wondering why I'm holding these cards and why is there four of them? Isn't there usually three? Yeah, I know. Two of them popped out together, so I was like kind of hesitant at first, and I was like, nah, this is about trusting your intuition. Remember? That's what we learned the last bit of last year's shadow work, especially like with this Mercury retrograde, which is I believe still happening. So bear with me. I think there's still a few days. Um I don't know exactly when it ends because I've been trying to kind of just be in my own little world. So I've taken a step back, but I'm diving deeper into my studies and things like that. So that's neither here nor there. But the point is, I'm trusting my intuition. These cards, I'm holding them for a reason, I promise you. It's because we're confirming the energy and we're going to talk about an interesting topic, which is the selfish era, because that's what this year is about. I know, it's like, what? I thought last year was supposed to be. No, last year was like a warm up game, bro. It was a warm up game. This year is about you. This is about stepping up. This is about actually bringing things into fruition and actually trusting your intuition. That was clever, wasn't it? Sorry. But like, okay, let's get started. The first card that we pulled was the universe. So yeah, the last year's lessons. Obviously there was a lot of repeated cycles coming to an end. Basically, just kind of like closing old doors, closing old chapters, things that we don't really need to hold on to and hold space for. That's me popping my drink open. I'm sorry. Bear with me. But like, this universe has a message for you, and this is the universe message right here. I hope you're watching this video. I mean, I don't know who I'm talking to if you're not watching this video. I'm probably just talking to myself and the camera, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like, the universe. This is the universe trying to get your attention, bro. Three. One and two. Two and one. That makes three. Yeah. It's blurry, but you know what I mean. This universe card is basically saying, like, we're handing you the key. We are handing you the key. There's not a key there. You don't need a key. You got like these wands of like mystical power where you can basically figure out exactly what you want and make it happen. Because that's what you're all about. The strength card, another infinity. The infinity symbol, the snake eating itself. That's the 8. 8 is a very high number. But we also have the strength card. So again, all of those tests were basically like not like, is this chick, is this dude, is he really worthy of all of this abundance? That's not what the test was about. The test was really about like, how are you going to handle this situation? How are you going to handle all of this abundance coming into your life? Are you going to do good with it, or are you just going to be, going back to old habits, old patterns, and just kind of, diving into, old cycles? You see how she has like these flowers in her hand? I don't know why they're significant, but there's four of them, so maybe pay attention to the four roses. I don't know who that was for, but it was for somebody important. And yeah, so the strength card is it's very much signifying that it may have felt a little rough in some of the parts, but it was not that bad compared to the last 2 years prior, because those were really hectic. I mean, first of all, we had like COVID and all that BS, and then all the lockdowns, and then just people out of work and all of that. So it was harsh on everybody. Like there's everybody was experiencing a lot of these things, all of these hardships, and then we were tested in a lot of situationships and a lot of relationships, and so we gained a lot of strength and wisdom from doing that and from going through that path. And again, like at the end of the year, and actually probably in a few periods of time, I know I personally have felt pretty defeated in quite a few times last year, not because I was really falling into old patterns, but because I was still repeating them, naturally, not that I'd ever escaped them. Some minor ones, but at the same time, I was still being tested as far as like repeating cycles, and I was more so drained about the repeating cycle and being completely aware of it, and basically like kind of blaming myself for how things happened. And it was really just a test about like, hey, you cannot control what other people do, how they behave, and you know, and you gotta focus on things. You gotta prioritize yourself, and this is why you prioritize yourself and go into the selfish era, because a lot of these distractions can have you feel defeated, and it could have nothing to do with you. It really could. It could have nothing to do with you, and that alone, that defeat moment is really when you start going into the hermit hierophant type of, I know those are two different, but the hierophant type of like mode where you're just kind of like not like completely isolated, but isolated in a spiritual sense, like where you're in your own little zone, your own little world, kind of just like spiritually aligned and just kind of like out, tuned out of everything. See how he's got like this light just kind of protecting him in this Taurus vibe, very protective. See, he's even this freaking cow bull thing, Taurus, is like protecting him. I think he's like sitting on the cow. I don't know why, but you know what I mean. Like he's chilling, he's vibing, and he's doing a lot of inner work. So the 5-pointed star, 5 significance, man. This is going to be a really great year, and I know that, like, again, all of that shadow work that we were doing, and I did quite a few videos for a reason on shadow work, and it was because it was hitting a lot of people really hard, and that's okay, because sometimes we do have to be tested by spirit, but if you get those, and I know that this is really pretentious, trust me, but when you do actually get those stronger battles, those harder battles, they actually do really, like, not toughen you, but they mold you into like smarter, wiser, not even just smarter, but wiser about decision making process and just making better decisions for yourself versus other people. Because okay, so hear me out, because this isn't about like, oh, you got to be tested in order to receive. No, that's not what this is about. This is about the fact that there are other people on this planet that you cannot control how they behave. And that type of energy, regardless of how up there in the spiritual realm you are, how elevated, how motivated you are to meditate, there's going to be people out there who are going to do ridiculous things, who are going to do shady things. Like, regardless of them being direct towards you or kind of subconscious, or even kind of like, not necessarily direct. Like, maybe it's just something happened in some curtain somewhere else, but it still comes down and trickles down right back to you. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. This is why the universe molds us into these creatures, because we cannot control how the other people in this realm behave. We can't control how animals behave. We can't control nature, bro. There are things, elements in this world that are out of our grasp. And so we have to understand how to be balanced and in tune with that knowledge and that understanding, because if you're not aligned with it and you're out of tune with it, like, the world around you is going to feel hectic, it's going to feel chaotic, and it's going to kind of like, it depends on who you are, but it can like really kind of be like, oh, well, the world's out to get me, and you can just kind of go into victim mode, even if you're not necessarily like that type of person. Like, you can just like get stuck with like the awareness of the battles, and be basically kind of stuck in this mentality that things are out to get you. You have to understand that they are not. It is just working you up into this selfish era, which again is all about you. So there can be some things it's like, well, okay, selfish era. How does that have anything to do with spirituality? I will tell you, because your selfish era is when you are going to start prioritizing yourself. Selfishness is not selfish. I don't care if that makes sense or not. It is not selfish to take care of yourself, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And that is a common saying, but none of us actually take any value towards it. So you really got to start practicing this shadow work. You really got to start diving into this stuff, because it will teach you how to not drain your battery. It will teach you how to recharge your battery when you are drained, and it will teach you, I don't know, it will teach you how to protect yourself. You don't even need these things. I just use them because I love the subconscious practice, and they're pretty. I like rocks, shiny rocks. Okay, But you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to have all of these like protection spells, these stones and stuff. It's all here. It's all about your mentality. It's all about your mindset and the way that you pretty much approach life. And yeah, that's saying a lot or saying nothing maybe, but at the same time, hold on. I didn't adjust the settings on my toaster oven, so I burnt my pork grills. I'm just going to admit that since you may have heard that ding. But so, okay, like I said, not everything goes right in life. Sometimes you make a video and you forgot that your pork rolls were in their toaster oven, and actually I thought the warm setting was going to be okay, but apparently it was a lot hotter than I thought it was going to be, and it's okay. It's not the end of the world. We have other things to eat. It's a small loss. It's okay. They were just leftovers. But, like, that's my point. Okay? It's just mindset. Yeah, it's a little sad because I really wanted to eat those pork rolls, but it didn't have sauce to go with it anyway. So maybe it's nature's playing it out in my favor so I can eat something tastier. You know? I'm just saying, it's all about perspective. It really is. I'm a little sad about those pork rolls. I'm not gonna lie. But, okay. You are being prepared for your selfish share because your selfish share, again, it's about recharging your battery. It's about bringing things in with the law of attraction, learning how to manifest, and kind of just not thwart away from bad things, but being able to stand there right next to it, look it in the face, and be like, yeah, you don't want to fuck with me. Okay. Skid along. That's what you're going to start talking into existence. This stuff out here and in the rest of the world, besides right here, has not anything to do with you. You can block, you can guard, you can do whatever you need to do to zen in to yourself and just like not dissociate the rest of the world. But like make sure that there are things that are not affecting you because they have nothing to do with you. You cannot control somebody's mood or energy or decision making process. So it's like, to each their own, but at the same time, like internally, those things do and can affect us, especially if they are doing things directly towards us or around us. But it's really about having a better approach to other people's toxicity too at the same time, because especially if you are kind of like working up on the ladder, you want to be a social media influencer, you want to like kind of work your way up in like the social light, like or the social element, you know what I mean? Like you have to understand that there are going to be toxic people out there. There are toxic people, like for me example, there are toxic people in the spirituality community. There are people outside of the spirituality community that are really toxic. There are people that are just that have no concern with my content. Would never even click on it and still have some type of form of input and opinions on something that they would never utilize, look at, watch, or consume. Like there are people who have opinions about things that they don't care about. And so why would you care about them if they don't even care about the thing they have the opinion on? Like they don't really okay. It's complicated, I know. But this is my point. Like you have to work yourself up mentally and be prepared for this because that type of attention, that type of focus on you and that type of like responsibility of being like a leader, a social media influencer, a life coach, whatever it is that you want to prioritize, or even just being a boss ass babe, boss ass dude, boss ass king who wants to like run their own business, that still takes mindset and that still takes you organizing yourself and managing yourself. If you don't think that takes some sort of hustle mode, some sort of mentality where you're starting to get things together, it doesn't require some form of journaling and writing things down. I know that side's empty. There's things written down on this side. There's not that much. But my point is like, okay, maybe you don't need a New Year's resolution. Maybe you just need to start doing things. And that's what this year is really trying to teach us with this Mercury retrograde. So it's almost like it's kind of like not forced us, but it has. It's pushed us and motivated us to do better. through like, prioritizing our health, prioritizing our mental health more than, anything else, and just kind of, closing our circles into like tighter, but also still expanding and networking at the same time. So your connections are closer and tighter, and but still in a free type of system where there's not, all of these roadblocks and heads butting. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Maybe it doesn't, but it will. So, again, the selfish era is about prepping you for your abundance and making sure that, like, mentally, you're all there for the abundance that you're going to receive, because that can actually be overwhelming, and it can trigger this like thing in your head where you just want to go back again to like toxic habits and basically just, waste all your money away, waste all of the abundance, and have no gratitude, and just maybe even fall back into a hole because you have everything figured out for yourself. And it's so it like kind of takes this like excitement or something. It really depends. I know it sounds crazy, but you would just have to be there to understand what I mean, because there are people who have a lot of things in the world, like rich people who have a lot of things in the world, who have like a very poor sense of health, are just, do really awful things to themselves and other people because they don't really care, because they have everything just laid out for them. And so it's like they've been given a lot of things without the mental tools and the mental process. And so it's like handing somebody like this desk set that they don't know how to put together, but they have all of the resources, but they've never been taught how to put this desk together. And maybe they don't have like all of the tools, because they were just never, they don't even know what tools to use, because they were just like, here's this table, we don't have no instructions, there's some loose screws, figure it out. Some people figure it out and some people do not. And that's the thing, that's the test, is like you have to work yourself up. And if you are willing to go through the selfish era and prioritize yourself, like legitimately, where you're putting worth on the work and effort that you do, then you're going to start seeing some like dramatic changes in your life. And you're going to realize that your complacency and being okay with where you were, even if it was mildly like chill, like whatever, like maybe everything was good, maybe everything was fine, but you were just like content with like bare minimum or whatever. Maybe bare minimum's fine. Maybe bare minimum is everything to somebody. That's cool too. But like my point is like as soon as you become complacent with where you're at, like that's where you're going to stay. And so if you change that mindset into like the selfish era, like, hey, I need to prioritize myself. I need to make sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do in order to get things done. And that I don't even have to explain myself to other people. And if they don't understand that, we're just going to have some communication problems, or we're going to have to communicate better, that this is me doing things for myself. This is me working on myself and building a foundation and setting roots, because setting roots down into the ground is where you're really going to ground yourself and have this sense of reality where like, hey, I'm actually making a world around me, and I'm actually doing things for myself. I'm putting food on the table, I'm building a house, I'm, purchasing a house, I'm getting a mortgage, or like buying my own car, or getting financing my own car, but I'm making moves. I'm doing things. And so that's my priority. That doesn't mean that I don't love you. That doesn't mean that I don't care about you. And that doesn't mean that you are not a priority. It just means that I have to do this. If I don't do this, not the makeup, everything else. If I don't do this and be me and do the things that I need to do every day, things will fall apart. And there will be nobody there to catch me. So I have to take care of myself first, and then I can love you second. And if you look at a lot of I know they're really popular. I mean, they've always been a thing, but the more popular now, I guess, or maybe I just noticed them more because I'm single. I don't know. you didn't hear me say that. Sorry. Um, so there's like this thing with relationships. Like this is like like a big one that I've heard like men say, and I thought it was really great because I feel like women should think this way too. Because it shouldn't just be like the men thing in this. This is just how people should think. Period. I love myself first, and I love you second. And that scares people. And I know that it scares people, especially with relationships. But that's not what we're talking about anyway. That's not the focus. But at the same time, you have to love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you can't love another person. That just never works out. You're pouring way too much into somebody else, or you're not pouring anything into them, and you're just being chaotic and toxic, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're just not, doing the things you need to do in order to be, an effective lover or an effective partner, or equal give and take type of partner. Like you're not doing the things that you need to do in order to be that person for somebody else. And so things crumble apart, they fall apart, and there's like communication barriers. There's all kinds of things that happen that way when you're not, being honest and communicating like, hey, and you don't even have to like tell that person, but I feel like if you were able to communicate that better and be like, I can't pour from an empty cup, so I have to prioritize myself and love myself first before I love you. I can't do things for you if I'm not doing things for myself. And at the same time, yeah, that can get narcissistic if you're just constantly like, yeah, I'm always gonna put you second sort of thing. But at the same time, that's not what we're talking about. The thing is, again, you cannot pour from an empty cup. I hope that message resonates because it's going to get embedded in your brain. If it has not been hammered in through all of this Mercury retrograde shadow work and all of this other stuff that's happened in the last few years, it's going to get hammered in at the beginning of the month, at the beginning of this year. So just bear with it because it's not just going to be me, it's going to be the rest of the universe telling you the same thing. I know that because it was 422 when I said that. So I'm just saying, be prepared to go into your selfish era and make yourself the priority and make life worth living because, that's what we're here to do. If we're not here to build a life worth living, we're probably just like chilling, playing video games or something. I don't know. I guess we don't always have to be doing something extravagant. You can really chill too. That's cool. But your selfish era is going to prepare you for everything that you've been manifesting. So just get yourself mentally prepared, prioritize yourself, and jump. Don't drift into it. Jump into the selfish era because you deserve it. Okay, cool. I'm done. I love you. Bye.